Okay, everybody. This is the week 2 overview, and I am sharing my screen. I want to start first by saying that I've reached out by phone or email to all of you, and thank you for those of you who took time to speak with me synchronously. If you would like to get in touch early this next week, I'd be happy to answer further questions. It usually takes about a week for everyone to get acclimated to this course, 580. It's a little bit different than the other courses you've taken at Concordia. It involves a lot of writing, and that is a learning process which is different for everyone. And my experience is that we all think we're strong writers until we have to write a capstone or a thesis or of any kind. It is not the same as other academic writing you may have done. And even if you have experience using APA 7, it's a different experience to do it for the purposes of a capstone. So it is a lot of work. It gets easier. And I want to encourage you to work with each other and to ask questions. There's really no way for you to know what it's like until you do it yourself personally. And I'm here to help you one-on-one as needed. And I also will refer you to other resources that we have. The first week, we kind of find out where the rubber meets the road, and it's okay, I'm still here for you, but there are a lot of resources here that you will need to use and learn to grow. And I can't grow for you, but I can help you and support you while you grow. I'm starting here on the landing page, but I actually want to go to we're going to go back to a couple of the resources in the course. I don't know if it's going to let me go there in my student view. Nope. There we go. I'm not used to navigating as a student. I'm in the student view for the video. Okay, let's go down to capstone resources. And my internet is slow. Okay. I don't know if you can hear the coyotes in the background. I live in a rural place. Okay, I want to make sure you're aware that we have some templates here for you to use. Of course, the one for the capstone and the one for School of Education papers. Here's the rubric for the capstone and a literature review matrix. This is very important because you're going to be using it for the next assignment. Also, here is an annotated bibliography template. So let's take a look at that. Now, I'm mentioning this one because it helps to work backwards sometimes. Now, these assignments are ones that you may have done before. It is important that you be very detailed oriented and that you use your paraphrasing skills. And already I've spoken with a few of you who understandably are a little bit nervous about paraphrasing. It gets easier the more you do it. You've been doing it in a lot of your classes. However, you haven't done it in a way that synthesizes so many pieces of research to date, unless you've done another academic program. I also want to show you the matrix because this tool is important. Last time I taught this course, a lot of people did not know to use the template, even though it's in the assignment. So I want to make sure that it's visible. Here, it's a graphic organizer. I'm using one similarly for something else that I'm working on. It is a guide that will help you get the right information and organize what you need. This is the master template. You'll need to make a copy. I also want to call your attention here to this video about paraphrasing in synthesizing. You're not summarizing at this point in your graduate program, you're paraphrasing and synthesizing the information together. And all of those skills will come together in the next assignment. Now, the first assignment for this class, it required you to go in and use the library. And it is my experience that Concordia students don't always use the library at Concordia, which we're teachers or educators and we're graduate students. It's important to use the library. You must for this course and the next one. And it's important that you use and access the databases and utilize the resources that are there to help you. I'm not just saying that because both my parents were librarians or that I'm going to library school myself. Okay, so paraphrasing and synthesizing, there were some checks in the last assignment, assignment 1, to see if you know how to use your resources, including the APA guide. If you did not get them correct this time, I'm strongly encouraging you to go back and to learn it as soon as possible, because the sooner you learn your skills with APA and the researching skills, the easier it will be over the course of the capstone. And I am here to help you, as is the writing studio, all these resources. But I cannot use the resources for you. So here's a good video. If you were struggling and you didn't watch it, it's here. I'm also happy to speak with you about that. We'll go back to these other ones in a little bit, but I would like to go back now to week 2, if I can navigate there. I always get it wrong. There we go. Okay, so here we are. Week 2. Our topic is problem, purpose, and subjectivity. And I have looked at your contributions to the discussion board, and you'll see my feedback on that very soon. It's okay if you need to refine your proposed problem so far. It's common to do that at the beginning of the capstone, and you will have the feedback of each other as well as me to narrow it down. Now, this capstone is an introduction to qualitative research. You're not actually doing a full-blown qualitative research study, but you're getting your feet wet, so to speak, so that you have an experience for when you are a master of education and are ready to use qualitative research and other research to address a concern or a problem of practice that you find in the education setting. Our learning outcomes this week are to exercise reflection throughout the research process to impact school change for school improvement. You're going to read, analyze, interpret, and synthesize educational research studies and journal articles for their relevancy to your problem. You're going to identify and articulate research problems with a primary and secondary question. And you will begin working on planning and designing your own qualitative research study that you may do someday. Necessarily do it in this capstone, but maybe you will. You're also going to plan and write the research proposal, chapters 1 through 3, with the CUI structure. Okay, hang in there. It'll be okay. We'll get there. It's a lot, but we can do it. This week's Christian message comes from Proverbs. Chapter 19, verse 21 states, "Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails." The reflection, the Christian message every week is optional, so I would invite you to read the reflection and to reflect with me. And I'm happy to have a one-on-one conversation or to pray with you. This week's readings, chapters 6 and 7 of the Reflective Practice Guide. Chapters 3 and 4 of Writing the Literature Review. And you need to start finding journal articles for your chapter 2. The annotated bibliography assignment is not due this week, but you need to get started because, like anything, the capstone is large. Have you ever heard, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Anything big and important is going to be challenging, but you can do it. Do it a little at a time. Ask for help. Work together. Don't give up. Have faith. You can do it, but it is a lot. You already know that from all the reading that you've had so far. There are no assignments due this week. However, we do have a discussion board and you need to start working on assignment 2, which I'll talk about in just a moment. Your discussion board serves as initial planning to get you started with your chapter 1. Carefully consider your topic choice. This week, you're going to read about it. You're going to go into the library and practice using that information you did for assignment number 1. You're going to find articles and you're going to become more informed about what you think your problem of practice is. Please be prepared to adjust your problem of practice. Almost always, we have to narrow it down. I promise you. Everybody needs to modify it. So if you came into this course saying, I know I want to do this, that's awesome. However, we may have to refine your approach to it to make it doable and also based on what we learn in the field. Research is of the nature that it is happening quickly and all the time. And our world changing has really accelerated that. We have technology, we had a global pandemic, and we work in an incredibly dynamic industry. Yes, I said industry. Information is vast. And what we think we know, what we feel, what we believe, and what research tells us will address a problem can sometimes be correct and not correct. That's why we do research. Almost always, we have to narrow down or modify our approach to whatever problem of practice we select because of what has already been done and because of what is doable or what is within our control. So even though we may feel very strongly about something, it may not be doable unless we adjust it somewhat. I'll give you a great example. Almost every class I've taught has wanted to address motivation. Motivation is a hard one because of how it is defined and studied, what is established in the field, and also some of the things we can and cannot control. And it's possible to pick an aspect of it or to do a specific program or a specific approach. There are a lot of things you can do about motivation, but motivation in itself, student motivation or teacher motivation, too big. So please do be prepared to adjust and to modify, and it's okay. It's okay. You can solve the world and fix the world's problems later when you're a master of education, but for the capstone, we're going to start small. We're going to start small and practice our skills and learn how to do it. There's a phrase that says, start slow to go faster later. You don't have to do the full-blown capstone this time. We're going to go through it and make it doable so you can do the capstone experience at Concordia, get an introduction to qualitative research, and I'm going to help you. There are a lot of resources. It will take a lot of hard work, but you can do it. So with that being said, assignment 2 is due on the 14th of July. I can't believe it's almost July. I'm going to turn to my calendar. Wow. Okay. Chapter 1 of the capstone is what you'll be doing for assignment 2. So you're going to now dig deep into your proposed area of interest or topic, and you're going to find some articles about, and you're going to read about your topic. And you might need to consider different words or synonyms to find the articles you want. I strongly encourage you to use the resources at the Concordia Library. They are aware of what the assignment is. They are very skilled and happy to help you. Please access the Concordia Library. You're paying for it too. Your tuition gives you access to that beautiful library and the services that are there. You will need to have read the literature and be sufficiently knowledgeable about your topic. And doing that through the literature research, trust me, you want to do it in installments, is how we get to that point. You're going to need to pick articles that are recent. You're going to need to pick articles that are relevant. There are guidelines. We'll follow the guidelines in the assignment, and then I'm going to give you some advice to help you think critically about how research is best done. So you're going to start with your problem or your purpose and provide a brief description of the project that seems to be the best fit for you at this time. Just do the best you can. It'll be okay. Do it by discussing briefly the problem or concern. Look at the templates that I pointed out. Give your rationale for solving the problem and or for why you understand the issue. There is critical self-reflection in that. This is a Concordia piece. This is what you're here for. You get to do this at Concordia. You get to put your personal piece in it. And include your desired outcomes for the research study. You can say it. Own it. It is your problem of practice. It is your capstone. Write a first sentence that grabs the attention of your readers. This is where having a buddy will help. I will also share some examples with you. Now, the examples that we use in the capstone, take a look and tell me if you think they have these sentences that grab attention. An idea may be to paraphrase the research of others and state a startling statistic and cite it. For example, cite from the literature your thoughts and ideas and look at the rubric. You need to have at least 3 different sources to do that. It's clearly in there. Go step by step, do a little at a time, take breaks, and come back. This should be the beginning of your problem and purpose statements for your chapter 1. Now, your primary and secondary research questions, take a look at the examples. Do not ask a question that can be answered with yes or no. They're not always simple or basic. They can be very detailed and wordy. And there's an article for you to reference. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. Look, here's a little checklist for you. This is what I mean by go in small increments and do a little at a time and come back. It's really the best way, I promise. Follow the checklist. When you have questions, ask each other because both of you will be able to figure it out together and learn. And then you can ask me. I mean, I don't mind if you ask me, but you'll learn more if you learn it on your own and with each other. This is the rubric I'll be using. I know it's hard to use a rubric and work backwards, even though it's a great way to write. Think about academic writing as a new language. And very few of us are taught how to write academically. It involves conventions. It involves practice. And think of it like riding a bike or doing really anything hard. It will be hard until you can do it. But once you can do it, you'll never forget. You'll even dream in APA for a while. It takes a lot of work. And those of you who've used APA or done something like this before, maybe you even have done another thesis in another master's program or even a doctorate. I have had capstone people in the past who have. It will still be different because of the way this assignment is designed, but it takes practice and revision. Expect to start with your first draft and know you're going to come back and know that you're going to learn something and have to go back and relearn it. I will give you a lot of feedback, but it is not my main job. You can get that in the writing center. If I give you feedback, it's because I want you to learn it and I'm here to help you. And I will find a way to help you learn if you're not understanding it. It's okay to struggle with it, but it's not okay to not learn it. You must be able to write at a level that is befitting of a master of education, and I will help. Use the tools that are available. There are a lot of supports in this course, and the rubrics are some of them. And I'm showing this to you because it helps those of us who are visual learners to have something to compare to. I am currently in another program where it's set up completely different, and my expectation is very different. And I have to go back and compare different sources and think very differently than I ever have before. Get used to that. It's okay. It's hard, but it helps us grow. Okay. So your discussion board for this week. You're beginning chapter 1. And this prompt will help you get your initial thoughts down and give and receive feedback from your peers and me to get started. So in 1 to 2 paragraphs, discuss the topic you've chosen by stating the problem you've encountered in your current or past educational setting. In 1 to 2 paragraphs, discuss your passion for understanding more about this problem and your desired outcomes as a result of the study. That's your purpose statement. In 1 to 2 paragraphs, reflect on your experience with your topic and reveal your assumptions or biases in regard to the topic. And how might they influence the results of your study? Now, I would like to share, we are human and we are passionate. We are part of the Concordia community. We are service leaders. Because we are human and because of our values and the connection to this research and our core values, we automatically have biases, and it's okay. In fact, it's better. But in research, we need to learn how to manage our biases so that our research and our values align, but our research is not influenced by our biases. It sounds strange, but we are automatically going to put our perspective on anything we do as humans, and we can acknowledge it, and in doing so, examine and reflect and do the best we can to mitigate the impact of that by acknowledging it and addressing it. And we are expected to, and we must, and that's all. And in the end, it would not be a Concordia capstone if we did not have biases that connect to our values. So it's okay to have them. Don't get too worried about it. Learn to frame them in a way that, one, makes the connection between your core values and your research, but two, doesn't invalidate your research. Because there are a lot of opinions or experiences or feelings that we have, which are good, but it's not appropriate to let them drive our research because that might lead us in the wrong direction. And it's human to do so. But this is the step we will be practicing, and just so you know, it is okay. We cannot remove our perspectives or who we are. We don't have control over them to a certain degree. We don't have the ability to remove perspectives about gender or age or ability or disability. I'm going to defer about race because race is a construct that we have created as humans, but there are a lot of things that we cannot remove. We have no control over them. So we address them, we acknowledge them, and in doing so, that begins the process of removing the impact of them. It's kind of a double message, but it's really beautiful when you think about it. So that is something you're going to do in the last part in 1 to 2 paragraphs. So this discussion board will serve as a rough draft to begin your chapter 1 and get feedback this week. Now, I like to, in the first week, do my feedback a little bit later, just because I want to see how you interact with each other. I know many of you have had classes together before, but we are here as a community. And we're here to help each other and to be positive and supportive. It's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to struggle with hard things. It gets easier. Okay. Finally, I am a verbal processor. It's one of my strengths as a teacher and a learner. I also have a background in alternative education. I did alt ed. Ed options is what we called it. It was my favorite assignment. I have done so many different assignments in public education to make your head spin, but alternative education was a privilege for me because I really got to see how you can adjust per the learner and find a way to meet all learners where they're at to accomplish a goal. That's a passion of mine. And it's okay if you don't feel confident in your writing, or if you do feel confident in your writing. We are all here together to help each other, and I'm happy to help you and keep you company as you struggle through doing something hard. As long as you put the work in, I'm here for you. I've said before, I can't do it for you. In this capstone course, I've had students who didn't turn it in. I cannot grade it if you don't turn it in or read the directions. I know you are. But if you need help or if you've missed something, that's okay. Let's just fix it sooner rather than later. And it's okay to not be 100% perfect. As teachers, we are high achievers. It's just part of who we are. And I know many of you are on it and working hard and diligently. It is all going to pay off. There will still be room to grow. There's always room to grow. I thought I could use Studio, which is the Canvas recording feature. I thought I had done it before. I do it for my other program. I could not get it to work last week to save my life. It was laughable. I even called my cousin, who's also a professor here at CUI. She couldn't get it to work either. We are just a pair, aren't we? It's okay. We don't have to be perfect. We just have to keep trying. And we have grace. So if you would like to get in touch with me, as I said, either by email to schedule a time or just call me, I find it very useful during the second week to make a connection where you can ask questions and engage, because it gets you started in that process. And if you don't need it, it's okay. If you want to stay 100% online and never have a synchronous conversation with me, it is okay. But I promise that it sometimes helps to spin things around and use a different part of your brain when you're learning a hard task. And this is a hard, detailed task. You can do it. And maybe you have enough experience or you're skilled enough, that's fine. But learning to write academically for this project is a lot. And you don't have to do it alone. So I'm here. I am currently on a summer schedule. For the most part, I'm available after 11 o'clock, at least for 580. And when we get to the next part of the capstone sequence, my hours will change a little bit, but feel free to call me or to text me to set up a time. We can do Zoom. I know you're comfortable and familiar with being online and asynchronous, but I just want to urge you to take advantage of the human interaction that really can help and support in the capstone. So thank you so much, and I'll be in touch.